Welcome to the RavensSpace on YouTube. My name is Jason, and this is RavensSpace Daily, where we talk about Baltimore Ravens news every single weekday. Thank you guys so much for joining me. We have 3 news stories for you guys today. One of them is good, and 2 of them are very disappointing to me as a Ravens fan, but we'll hop right in. But first, I want to say please subscribe to the RavensSpace on YouTube for more great Baltimore Ravens content. We do the best Baltimore Ravens content on the internet. Also, I want to say check out our Patreon page where you guys can support us, and a special shout out to our Patreon subscribers because without you guys, none of this is possible. And we're going to hop right into the first news story of the day, which is about Michael Campanaro, and he was placed on the physically unable to perform list, the PUP list is what I'll be calling it from the rest of this episode, today at the start of training camp. Now, the PUP list is a list that you put players on at the beginning of the season, and if they are still in this list when the actual regular season starts, then they missed the first 6 weeks of the regular season. Now, this is an injury that Campanaro has had for a while. It's a toe injury, and when he came to training camp, they said that he could not play. This is not good for Campanaro, who's on a 1-year deal, and it's basically, I think, the Ravens' last shot. John Harbaugh said in June that it was a nuisance. Again, when you have a player, you can't keep on giving them shots when they keep on not coming through, and your best ability is availability. Campanaro, over the last 3 years, has only played 11 games. And so it's time for the Ravens to cut him. They'll give him a shot, I guess. They'll keep him on the PUP list, the PUP list, until after, his time is up, and they'll see what he can do week 6. But I think this is his last season in Baltimore. Again, I have a friend who went to school with Campanaro in high school, and I'm super disappointed. I know he's disappointed. I think this is it for the Campanaro saga. Again, was placed on the PUP list for his toe injury. Let me know if you think the Ravens should give him another chance, if you think they should keep him and try to, mature him into a great receiver or a great returner. And now the next story piggybacks on the last story, and it's about the Ravens signing Griff Whalen. If you guys don't know Griff Whalen, he's formerly of the Colts and formerly of the Chargers. He's a receiver, was never a very dynamic receiver. He fits into that Campanaro role. He'll play the slot. He does have more height than Camp, but I don't think that the Ravens want to use him as a premier guy. I think they want to give him competition, see if he can beat out a player like a Moore for that 4th receiver role, and also return the football. Now, again, Griff is an older cat, really, so I don't know if he's going to be as explosive as maybe a Moore, but to get him into the building, to have the competition will be a good thing. From everything I heard about Griff Whalen is that he loves the game of football, he's competitive, and he's smart. And so even if his talent isn't there, he will be a benefit to the Ravens by adding competition, and again, loving the game of football. So Griff Whalen was signed hours after Campanaro was placed on the PUP list. So again, it's just a direct correlation. And actually it's more than a correlation, it's causality. So it's just something that we see. Griffin has a chance now to be a productive player on the Baltimore Ravens. Let me know in the comments below if you think he'll be productive on the Ravens. I would love to know. And for the third news story of the day, and it's a big news day for a Friday, a player has been placed on another list, the non-football injury list. And this player is rookie Jermaine Illuminor. Please forgive me if I mispronounce his name, but he was placed on the non-football injury list. Now, players are usually put on this list when they fail their conditioning. And again, not a good sign for a rookie to fail his conditioning test. And I truly do believe that is what happened. Because there would be, he's not injured. He is healthy otherwise, but I do not think that he passed his his conditioning. So what's going to happen is that he'll be on this list. Now the Ravens can put players on and take players off this list at any time. So as soon as he passes his conditioning test, then I think they take him off the list and he gets into training camp. But until then, he can't partake in training camp. So I do think that it was a fact that he came in not out of shape, but maybe he wasn't ready for that kind of conditioning test. And because it's a tough conditioning test, especially for a 300-pound man. So I think that, we've seen in the past players like Ladarius Webb fail the test. And so it's very reasonable to me that I could see rookie offensive linemen fail the test. So again, he'll pass it sooner or later. He'll be in the mix. It's just disappointing to know that he came into camp not really ready for the rigors of the first day of training camp. But I do think that he did fail the test. He's on that list, and I think in the next week or two, they'll take him off the list and he'll be part of training camp. It's just disappointing more than anything. And there's a little bit more news that I wanted to place on the end here. So the Baltimore Ravens waived safety Daniel Henry, who was an undrafted free agent. And they also put Aaron Bailey and Patrick Ricard on the physically unable to perform list, which is bad news for Ricard because a lot of people liked him coming out undrafted and thought he had a real chance to mix it up with the Ravens. But that is what happened. So again, it was a big news day, and we're going to move into the mailbag question of the day. Like we do at the end of every single RavensSpace Daily, we answer a question from you guys. Please send your questions to TheRavensSpace@gmail.com. Again, it's TheRavensSpace@gmail.com. It's also in the description, so please check it out. And this question comes from Sergio, and Sergio asks, in order, who do you think will be the first, second, and third receiver on the roster for Jeremy Maclin, Mike Wallace, and Brashard Perryman? Thank you so much for your question, Sergio. Now, again, where they're going to be placed is hard to say. In traditional football terms, the first receiver is usually placed on the strong arm of the quarterback, I believe, which is usually the right side. The second receiver is usually on the opposite side of that, and the third receiver is in the slot, as I know it. And so what's going to happen, though, because Maclin will be playing out the slot, you can't really say it that way. I'm going to go by who's going to get the most passes thrown to them, and who's going to have the better stats. And so I think Jeremy Maclin will be one. I think he's more talented than the other receivers. I think his route running is more crisp. He doesn't have the top end speed of the other ones that the other ones do, but he's still fast. And he has better hands, in my opinion, than the other two as well. Number 2 would be Brashard Perryman. I think this will be his year to come out and be a great receiver for the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to make a transition this year. That were, they were making it last year as well, but this is going to be a 3-receiver offense. But like I was saying, Brashard Perryman be number 2. He's too fast, too explosive, too big, can jump too well. Players like that always have a spot in the NFL. And so I do think that he'll mature. And again, he's been lighting it up this offseason, so I think he has a good shot. And number 3 is Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace had a great season last season. But Mike Wallace is also inconsistent. Mike Wallace has always been inconsistent, and which is a big reason why, the Steelers didn't feel comfortable giving him a contract in his younger years as that, max level type guy. Now, again, he will have always be impressive speed wise, but I do not think that he can be consistently relied upon, especially with Maclin, who's been added to there. Again, last year, Wallace was by far the best receiver on the roster. Again, Brashard Perryman wasn't ready yet. And then Steve Smith was not the same guy that he was before his injury. Mike Wallace, in my opinion, is not as fast as Perryman, can't jump as high as Perryman, isn't as tall as Perryman. And also, I don't think that he can catch the ball as well as Maclin. I don't think he can run routes as well as Maclin. I just think that he finds himself in a place where what he's good at, Perryman is better at, and what he's not good at, you have a receiver to take that spot, so you don't have to force him balls in that situation. So, again, I think he'll be number 3, a great receiving trio, and I really like to see what happens, but that's my ranking. That's how I'll place them. Number 1 is Maclin, number 2 is Perryman, and number 3 is Wallace. Thank you so much for your question, Sergio. And that is the end of RavensSpace Daily for today. Thank you guys for watching today and for watching all week. Please, again, come back on Monday. Watch all our content. We post great Baltimore Ravens videos every single day, so please come back. We're only growing. Support us on Patreon. Buy a t-shirt to support us. Again, as the season gets closer, we're going to get better. Thank you guys so much, and go Ravens.